Okay, we're going to follow the rules that we know, taking the coefficients and multiplying them. For number 1, 7 times 6 is 42. And taking anything with the same base raised to a power, we see x is raised to the negative 8, and then x is raised to the third. We have the same base of x on both of those. So what do we do when we're multiplying? We add those numbers together. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. That's not completed yet because we need to then say we have a negative exponent. We need to move to the bottom. What are we going to move to the bottom? Well, you should be able to know at this point that the 42 does not have the exponent on it. Unless there was a parentheses around the 42x making this whole thing the base, then the base is just the closest thing to the exponent, and that's the x. So the x is the thing that's got the negative 5 exponent on it, and that's the thing that's going to move to the bottom. What's going to stay on top? The 42. What goes to the bottom? Well, it's now x down here, used up the negative, so it's a positive 5 like that. And as you can see, that is choice number 1. Okay, we're going to continue on in that fashion. Okay, so we'll do the same thing on this one. We're going to multiply the coefficients. We have a 2 and a 5, that makes it 10. And we have the x terms. The x terms have an 8 exponent and a 5 exponent, and 8 plus 5 is 13. And there's only one y term, so we're just going to keep that y term. We're going to leave its exponent as it is because it's not modified by any other y terms. Okay, so we've got then 10x to the 13th, y to the 10th, and that is D. Yep. And finally for number 3, we're going to multiply the coefficients. We say negative 4 times 2, negative 8, negative 8 times 5, negative 40. And what do we get for exponents? Well, what do we have for bases? We have an x base. There's one that's got a 3, one that's got a negative 8. 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5. And then we've got a y base with exponents of negative 2 and 5. Negative 2 and 5 equals 3. Okay. What has a negative exponent? Just this x does. That's got the negative 5 on it. Remember, the exponent, I always say exponents are lazy. They want to work on as little as possible. And since it's able to work on just this base of x, that's all it's going to work on. Okay, it's not going to work on this, for example, negative 40x, because this negative 40 is not stuck to the x. It's really this number, negative 40, and this x to the negative 5. Those are being multiplied. There's a multiplication symbol in between. And essentially what that means is then you have to deal with the exponent before you can ever deal with the multiplication. So we won't have that times negative 40 until after we've done the negative exponent. So what does that look like for us on this problem? We've got negative 40. Actually, let's say we've got a fraction now because we need to move something to the bottom. So we're going to have a negative 40 on top. Or alternatively, that negative could be out front. As long as the whole fraction has become negative, then that's totally acceptable. So we've got the 40 on top. We've still got the y cubed on top. The x term moves to the bottom now as an x to the positive 5 because the negative was used up in order to move that term to the bottom. So we've got negative 40y cubed over x to the 5th, and that is choice B.